There's elements to praise in Gears 5, damn near only technical ones, but praise nonetheless. It's a grand audio-visual achievement with an excellent 3D audio engine, stunning visuals, and solid performance. Though it's like a James Cameron movie, all the bling is there to try and cover up the vapidity of the experience. And, unlike a James Cameron film, it's more predatory than a horny Catholic. Though, before I take to shafting Microsoft and the Coalition like an armchair socialist, the game actually does have a fair amount to praise. So don't worry, this will be more than just me ranting about monetization, though that is what I'm going to do first. I imagine the Coalition wants me to get on my knees and blow them because they didn't put loot boxes in their game based on prior misleading statements, though I think it only right that I motherfucking chokeslam that ego back down. This game takes the piss like any other AAA shitstick of a game. Tiered editions with early, read not late, game access, pre-order bonuses, a rotating Fortnite store, premium currency that looks like it was ripped from Clash of Clans, premium currency boosters, daily/weekly challenges that earn fucking stars. Yeah, not just the store they stole. And an overly complex progression system designed to confuse you into throwing in the towel and just stumping up the green. They are only yearly season passes and loot boxes away from being Ubisoft. But hey, they're only as bad as EA currently is. In the Coalition's tiny mind, that's something to be goddamn proud of. It's not. It's tragic that it's even a goal for a studio. I expect you want a fucking cookie next for not shitting yourself in the night. Moving on for now, combat. Look, what do you want from me? It's Gears. It's the same third-person cover shooter it's always been, but now with robot abilities. There's a pause one, a flash one, a sneaky cloak one. They're mostly useless, and nowhere near as direct as just marrying bullets with faces at high velocity, but hey, they're there. It's solid and competent at least, with some gimmicky abilities sprinkled on top. It's just that... 6 games. 6 games of this. It's so going through the motions, it's like a solar orbit. Predictable, familiar, decent, but a bit dull by exposure. Even the characters comment on how contrived the combat feels from time to time. Which of course brings me to a bit of a catchphrase of mine. If you know it's bad, why are you doing it? Well, bad is a bit of a global exaggeration. It's quite fun most of the time, actually. There's an array of wazy-feeling weaponry that perfectly straddles the line between visceral and cartoonish. There's grenade launchers that actually fire rocket volleys, and industrial equipment that actually fires buzzsaws, kind of like Mega Man as pushed through the lens of Italian snuff movies. It does all come together to create a versatile combat system where you can just keep switching loadouts as you feel, or settle into one of the 50 billion possible. I suppose either way you'll still just be plinking away from behind cover, though even that actually got nailed down in this game pretty well too. Normally a Gears of War game is basically just a shooting range with lots of brown dust and big shoulders. Even Gears of War 4 was a criminal in this record, boring me to tears with endless streams of plinking away at things from a distance, growing to hate myself more and more with each time I fucked up the quick reload. Gears 5 uses a new approach to environment design and even new enemies to try and make you move around a bit more, not just bog down, but to actually think to flank the enemy, or be flanked by them based on whether you notice or fail to notice features in the terrain. From robots that charge you suicidally to giant flocks of flying parasites, for the first time you actually have to think about what you're doing in a Gears of War game. Though again, the combat is still a bit too safe for my taste. Only a bit, and the game pointing that out to itself really doesn't help. Again, maybe it's just that this is game number 6, regardless of what those liars at Microsoft's marketing department tells you. Actually, speaking of the terminally overexposed, open world. Yes, this game is open world, mostly. It's got 2 hubs with about 6 locations apiece. The rest of the game is the standard linear Gears of War ordeal. So hang on, the Coalition added open world bullshit to this game because... why? They do nothing with it. Nothing happens when moving from one place to the next on your overgrown sled. It's just there as padding and nothing... oh, wait. You added open world because Ubisoft and EA does the open world live service thing and makes billions, huh? That's why you did the storefront too. You saw the big boys making shitloads of unethical and unsustainable money by pissing off customers while attracting government regulation and thought, I want a piece of that. So that's why this game has a pointless and padded out open world system. You were just copying other people's work, regardless of how out of place and utterly fucking dumb it would be in a Gears of War game. That's just tragically predatory. You know what? Since I'm on the complaint train, cover switching. Why must I fully leave cover to move around the corner of a piece of cover and then retake said cover? Games like Deus Ex and The Division had this shit down pat years ago. Beyond that, there's honestly not much else to say. It's all just contextual button prompts to get your little robot friend to do stuff that are themselves linear, so they're a little bit pointless. That's not really a bad thing either, though, truth be told. There's a joyous beauty in simplicity. Doom 2016 and Dusk are both simple games, but deliver an atmosphere and cathartic shooting model that warms the soul, but remembers to not outstay its welcome when the soul gets less warm and more bored stiff. Though the game trying to make me feel blue over the robot's self-sacrifice at the end is frankly moronic and hilarious. Speaking of which, there's more going on in a rice cake, frankly. The inter-character drama is about as smooth and deep as you can expect from a Gears game. Stunted, contrived, and Saturday morning cartoon-esque would be compliments. The central point is secrets, a point the dialogue will smash into your face with all the grace and subtlety of a freight train at every possible opportunity. The game's attempt at weaving a theme here is comedically bad. I'll run it by you. There is a secret lab that Marcus visited in a prior game with references to another secret lab running secret projects that both the old and new COG kept secret that reveals family secrets around the protagonist's apparent and entirely over-foreshadowed link and history to the Locust and Swarm. Meanwhile, the Saturday Funtime parade of massive shoulders are all falling out with each other over a secret JD had held for years, while also complaining about JD being mopey because he killed some peeps after a secret plan they were all in on to relaunch and reuse the Hammer of Dawn went wrong. I should also mention that the secret lab excursions were kept secret from the First Minister, aka the leader of the COG, before a need is established to once again secretly relaunch the Hammer of Dawn, but in a new place now, once again secret. This game is about secrets. Do you understand? This then brings me on to the big fuck up. As we will discuss in a minute, the game, possibly accidentally, endorses fascism within the context of this game. Interesting, since the game goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on about how secrets are the bad, evil, nasty. JD is bad because he kept secrets, so is the old COG, the new one too. Don't forget the protagonist's parents, they're also bad for keeping secrets. The thing is though, they secretly relaunched the Hammer of Dawn. Twice. Oh, but they have reasons. Do you not think JD had good reasons? You're a squad relying on each other, and the nature of his secret probably made him concerned for how you would react. A concern validated by how you fucking reacted. Oh, and while I'm here, little Miss Protagonist, I think it's very reasonable that your parents kept their secret from you too. Sometimes it is better to not know. A point made by this train wreck of a narrative when Dell refuses to let you look upon the face of your dead uncle. Now I know that was exhausting, so before we move on to talking about how this game fucks up its handling of fascist ideology, here's some footage of me petting my cat.
Good girl.
Refreshed? Good. The game keeps making reference to this to the point that the COG is a fascist organisation, with many angrily pointing that out. Even the titular protagonist pointing out the issue of state-controlled media, though it does nothing with this. That's it. I'm not joking. They just keep referencing that the COG is fascist and so may be bad, but people are surviving under their control while others are dying, so What a deep philosophical perspective and critique you've offered mankind. So I suppose if a conclusion is to be drawn, the Coalition's Gears 5 argues that fascism is A-OK as long as humanity is in sufficient crisis. Though the threshold between enough crisis and not enough of a crisis is never explored either. Does the COG take control of all humanity with singular rule the second someone realises they've run out of bog roll right at the critical push? This is what happens when you just reference a possible philosophical conflict but don't explore it or do really anything with it. You don't have a story as much as you do have people doing stuff. The multiplayer is just flatly let down by the monetization. It's here that the confusion and aggressive reminders that you can piss money up the wall come in full force. Though putting that once discussed and to be discussed again topic to one side, it's actually pretty solid, though there isn't much to say. I'm not a fan of the versus mode in Gears of War games, but seeing the option to team up with folks to take on the AI is a really nice thing to see. As someone who is A, bad at video games, and B, cack-handed, being able to go into a mode and not necessarily be knocked into the fucking floor like Bugs Bunny does help mitigate my desire to take the sledgehammer to my monitor. Horde mode is the usual affair, though with that Fabricator, a new system for difficulty using modifiers set from the start, as well as hero shooter style abilities. Really, it's the same as always. Build defenses, hunker down, see when the swarm overruns you and pulls your ring piece up through your mouth. Again, like the core combat, very through the motions, though what is new is escape. The idea is that you're a hive buster of some sort. You go in, plant a gas bomb, and get out with minimal supplies and shed loads of bullet sponge enemies. It's meant to utilise piecemeal maps, mainly from users. Much like Little Big Planet or Super Mario Maker, the allure of infinite content through your user base is a nice pipe dream and an awful reality. To make it simple enough for little Timmy to build maps, you have to use relatively simple prefabs and block-like constructions. So many maps are mechanically similar and suffer from visual repetition. Then there's the big issue that most people are not good map designers. So most maps are either far too short, like a porn film directed by an art school student, or far too long, like a porn film directed by the Rousseau brothers. If not that, too hard or just too easy. This is all not helped by the fact that the game mode itself is, well, just a bit shit. The enemy placements aren't the blend of scripted entrances and dynamically moving targets like in the campaign, instead looking very Lost Izalith, with the worst parts being the dissuading from shooting them. This is a Gears of War game, known for its brutal gunplay and cover shooting, and this mode encourages foregoing that to instead run through corridors with your ass wiggling at the camera for 10 minutes. Flatly, give escape a miss. Before we conclude, I do have some nice things to say about the port. Firstly, it really is a grand technical achievement. Where I'm not a fan of the art style, the use of technologies and effects is simply staggering. The game achieves an extreme degree of detail and geometric complexity while at the same time managing to deliver shockingly solid performance. Though I will say that the UWP version making you wait until you boot the fucking game for the first time to allow you to download the high-res fucking textures and then fucking reboot after is a pisser. Even beyond that, the plethora of options is more than welcome. An FOV slider, rare in third-person games, FPS cap, though tragically not integer values, even ambient occlusion strength sliders. Frankly, all developers should take note. Gears 5 customization options should be the minimum standard, not the exception. Further to that, audio, an often underappreciated part of games. Gears 5 makes use of the full dynamic range and utilises Dolby Atmos for 3D audio. I personally prefer more old school approaches using direct HRTFs, but if nothing else, this is by far the best Atmos implementation I've heard. In fact, the only client-side technical issue I've had, more on that in a second, was a weird progress bug. I was in Act 3, finished a mission, and then nothing. No new progress marker, no new location, no mission, nothing. I fiddled around for a while and eventually took to looking up the issue, found nothing, so I decided to quit to the main menu and reload. If in doubt, off and on. It was at this point I saw the message on screen. Yeah, the fucking game broke because I was running an outdated version. My solo, offline playing of the campaign was broken because this live service game needed an update. You couldn't fucking write it. As for the server-side issues, well, just read the Steam reviews for a rough idea. They don't work. That's it really, can't say much more. I've been kicked, load looped, I've been stuck in lobbies on my own for over a minute before then just starting on my own, and just flatly refused matchmaking, as in the game just goes, no, and just boots me back to the main menu. Makes you think of that time Ubisoft said live services were the future, for profit and not a whole lot fucking else. Here's the thing, on its own, Gears 5 isn't bad, in fact I weirdly kinda like it a little bit. Despite the now worn-out gameplay model, it feels just really good. The shooting is still solid and cathartic, with a plethora of weapons with which you can redecorate the walls. The campaign doesn't outstay its welcome, and can kill a weekend like a bad movie to watch with your mate. Plus the Horde mode is as fun as ever, and Escape, well, not to my taste, but hell, you might enjoy it, and I know there's plenty of you out there who enjoy the Versus mode. In short, this game should simply be decent, assuming you have friends to play it with. Forgettable, but decent. Here I should be saying to you, go grab it, if nothing else because it's a good co-op experience and co-op is never a bad thing. Though I won't say that. Well, I just did, but I don't mean it. The issue with this game is simply Microsoft and the Coalition. The sheer level of abject greed and customer contempt here is not only killing the game, but spells bad times ahead for those of us who play Microsoft's games. The servers, the bad writing, and just generally poor narrative, these ensure Gears 5 will be forgotten, and can only be recommended if you've got friends to play it with. What Microsoft and the Coalition did means this game is arguably not even worth picking up on sale. So why is this game total fucking shit? Well, it's because of what it says of the future for Microsoft, and evidence is a theory I've been bouncing off my friends now for a while. Microsoft doesn't want to be a console manufacturer anymore. Rather than being a console manufacturer that also publishes games, they want to be a publisher that also makes hardware. See, normally a console manufacturer makes first-party games to try and make their hardware appealing to customers, therefore driving them to buy a new console. This is why Sony has been making multiple high-quality games with barely a whiff of predatory monetization this whole generation. A great, artistic, complete game that doesn't nickel and dime its customer base is inherently more appealing than yet another open-world live service, sack of artistically bereft, incomplete shite demanding money in the forms of pre-order bonus, multiple tiered editions, microtransactions, yearly season passes, loot boxes, timed event loot boxes, non-season pass DLC, premium currency, battle passes, and beverage fucking tie-in. Because Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and Marvel Spider-Man are, mostly, just honest-to-goodness games that are just sold as games, they make buying a PS4 appealing. Help that they're pretty good games as well. Though there is a catch. Consoles don't have a particularly large profit margin. They make money, just not shed loads of money. This is why Nintendo's stock actually dropped at one point when it was discovered that the Nintendo Switch didn't make a whole lot per sale. This is where Microsoft comes in. This generation they realised something pretty dang important going in. They're Microsoft. They have platforms galore. Importantly, Windows. They also remember the original Xbox and how they lost money per sale. A point hammered home by the Xbox One X. Another console they lose money on. Rather than making some money selling consoles, make all the money being a low-rate, unethical shitbag like EA, Ubisoft, or Warner Brothers. This approach is even in Windows 10. Farm your data, as much of it as they can, and sell it to the highest bidder. Unethical? Yup. Scummy? Yup. Makes money? More than just making and selling a fucking OS. Microsoft has moved into PC. Properly now that they've realised no one wants their shit-awful excuse of a Play Store ripoff and are now moving to Steam. They'll obviously keep making hardware, of course. Project Scarlet is a thing. Though one of the key concerns around these new consoles is pure cost. Microsoft believes it will be fine. It could even sell at a loss. Why? Because it has Windows, loot boxes, pre-order bonuses, microtransactions. Pull an Amazon on Sony, price them out of the market at a loss, making up the shortfall with unethical business practices across Windows 10, desktops, laptops, and Xbox. That's why Gears 5 is total fucking shit. It opens the curtains on a generation seemingly determined to go in pretty much the same way as the one we're in now. Do everything we did before, but do it worse and charge more. Microsoft's dream of a monopoly has far from died. Tim Sweeney warned us. As ironic as it is considering what his company does now. Ha!
I don't give to the big issue seller, cause he's probably on heroin. I walk past him with a grin, and if I can, I kick his dog. No, I don't give to the busker. He's talentless and lazy. He's ruining the country. I think he should get a job. Instead, I give my money to Walmart for its tax evasion, Primark for its child labour, Mexico for the next invasion. Don't give a fuck about you. Give my money to the millionaires. I give my money to the millionaires. I give all my money to millionaires, and I don't give a fuck about you.
Hey, Foz. How's life in Jin's rear echelon treating you?
Brilliant. But then we can't all be off on some secret mission.
Oh, yeah? How'd you hear about that?
This is an army, not a monastery.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, we'll just leave you to the very important work, punching machines.
And sparring. Hang on a second, shit stick.
Shit stick? Del, theories?
I don't know. Maybe a stick made out of shit?
Or a stick used to stir up shit.
All right, fuck off. How about we make this interesting? You and me spar right now.
And how exactly is beating you interesting?
Yes or no?
You want in on this?
Pretty sure what's actually being measured here is gonna leave me at a distinct disadvantage. Then again, maybe not.
Hilarious. Are you in or not?
Oh, I'm in.
Come on, man. Let's just grab a jack component and get out of here.
No, this will be fun.
How's that fun working out for you?
Try it again, Foz. Come on. Hey, here's the thing, Foz. About to spar with you, but not beat you. It's against their programming, but explains your false confidence. Quite a bit, actually.
Want some advice, Phoenix?
Nah, I'm good.
Jen does love her golden boys. But never for very long.
See, that was fun.
Fuck off.
All right, man. Now that Five's fun time's over, can we go find that component?